All right, and hello. All right, hello. Amy Elizabeth, somatic and intuitive healer here, and I have been on a bit of a hiatus. All right, hello. Amy Elizabeth, somatic and intuitive healer here, and I have been on a bit of a hiatus. All right. This is my first time mixing this with a YouTube Live, so thanks for your patience. So now that I have taken care of the background noise of the 20-second delay with YouTube, let's talk about this eclipse. Item one, expect the unexpected. Uranus, this eclipse is taking place at 16 degrees of Taurus, exactly conjunct retrograde Uranus at 16 degrees. The North Node's at 13 degrees. Kali's at 21. So that's what's happening. And this is where the moon will be. That's what's happening in Taurus. Across the way, over in Scorpio, we have the moon the sun at 16, Mercury at 15. So Mercury is combust, and we'll talk about that more. Venus at 20. And then we have a beautiful trine sextile energy happening between Ceres at 16 degrees in Virgo and Medusa at 15 degrees in Capricorn. So there's this really beautiful earth trine energy that's going on. And holding all of this is Mars, who is retrograde in Gemini. So keeping all of that, all of those pieces in mind, let's just start a little bit of a breakdown, shall we? So it feels like the first thing I want to talk about is religion. I know, so off topic for me. Magic and science. And the piece about religion is the access to awe, the access to believing in something unseen that is bigger than ourselves. And now religion has become this source of political power and monetary control. And that is what it has become. I don't believe that is what it was originally intended as, that it was originally intended as a source of political clout, as it were. It was and could still be, if we can make the shift, this point of awe, there is something bigger than us. How do we tap into that? And science is there as our seeking of understanding. We want to seek to understand. And magic is our ability to tap in to our own personal control over all of these things. And so this could be a really beautiful three-legged stool. It's this beautiful triad of power, awe, and our own sense of control and our sense of understanding. If we had not set up a way of being that pits magic against science, magic against religion, and religion against science. We have put these 3 points of power on the drama triangle, actually. And for those of you that have been working with me long enough, have heard me talk about the drama triangle. And for those that live on the drama triangle, there's 3 sides. You can be a perpetrator, a victim, or a hero. And if you can only be one of those 3 things, everybody else can be one of those 3 things also, but it creates this dynamic of push, pull, and pit against rather than work together. And when we access science and religion and magic as things that work together, it shifts everything. And now, what does this have to do with the eclipse? Especially the eclipse that is expect the unexpected. We have never had any eclipse, solar or lunar, in the United States on election day in the history of our country, much less during our Pluto return. So there is this deep feeling that something really potentially amazing could be birthed. And moving into that birth can feel scary. I know for me, I was really, really aware in my body from the 24-hour before the eclipse period started this morning. We were moonbathing. I fell into a dream in which an elder, because for those of you who are in Women's Circle, you know we're working ancestors right now. We're working past lives. We are calling in the wisdom and the magic of our ancestors and the ancestors of the land that we steward. And I was naked with this Indigenous woman, this Indigenous elder, and we're all Indigenous to somewhere. But she looked at the butterfly. I have a tattoo of an Eastern butterfly, an Eastern blue. And they kind of are dusty like moths. And she said to me that I have the harbinger of death tattooed upon my body. And then she sang to it. This is all in a dream. And she sang my tattoo off my body. And she told me that I needed to follow it to see what it was time for me to release and most fully let go of. Because this is kind of our last 24-hour period in this eclipse cycle, to shed more, to let go of more. And so I followed my Eastern blue, my butterfly that had tattoo that had separated from my body and now was leading me into the dark. And I was frightened. I was really, really afraid in this dream. And even though I was going into the dark, I could track my butterfly. And all morning, from the time we hit about the 24-hour period before the eclipse, which happens around 5 a.m. Central Time on the 8th, November 8th. So adjust for your time zone, as I like to say. I followed this butterfly. It left a sparkle, and I followed it, even knowing how scared I was, scared to see the things that I was going to have to energetically or physically let go of to really prepare myself for the birthing process. As we birth into a new way of being on this earth. And Taurus is a sign of the body. It's the sign of the earth. And how do we want to show up? So now I'm going to break down the astrology and bring in some shamanic pieces with this. So Taurus is the nodal axis is in the sign of Taurus and Scorpio, the north node in Taurus and the south node in Scorpio. And now these nodes are often referred to as the head and the tail of the dragon. That they're in Taurus and Scorpio is beautiful because we have there's just so much more juice, I guess I would say, to what we're able to release with Taurus here, with Scorpio here feeding this eclipse axis. Scorpio is about release. Scorpio is about transformation. Scorpio is the home sign of Pluto and traditionally Mars. Pluto, who has officially stationed direct, and Mars, who has officially stationed retrograde. So if we look at this, the south node is answering to Pluto because the south node is in Pluto's house. And Pluto is, we live in a Plutonian world. Pluto was the lord of the underworld. He was the lord of the earth realms and therefore the wealth of the earth. Neptune ruled the seas. Jupiter, Zeus ruled the skies. These three brothers had things split up. And Pluto himself had the wealthiest portion. And yes, we can look at it from well, the earth has oil and the earth has this that I can make money off of. Or we can look at the fact that the earth itself is the wealth. The mycelium network, the plants that create our carbon dioxide oxygen exchange, the animals that eat the plants and we eat the animals, and the cycle that is life, the water cycles, and the magic of it. And yes, we could look at this election and say the world is ending, the world is ending, the world is ending. And the truth is that the planet is not going to end. If we as a species end, it's because we have been driving ourselves steadily towards that with no regard, because for some reason we're afraid to wake up. And the thing is when you wake up, you get to take in the beauty of the world. And yeah, there's scary things out there sometimes, but really, it's only scary if it's unknown. And it's only scary if we're going to fight it. So we've got the south node answering to Pluto. The sun is in Scorpio, answering to Pluto. Venus, who is the ruler of Taurus, where the north node is located, is in Scorpio. So while the north node is answering to Venus, Venus is answering to Pluto. Venus and Pluto have similar threads in that they are about power, sex, and money. And Venus's threads are a little different. They're about our personal relationship versus our more collective relationship, because Pluto is a collective sign, well, Venus is a personal sign. And eclipses hide things, which is another thing that feels really important to say. So first off, the nodes, or the ruler of the north node and the south node, are all checking in with Pluto right now. The moon is going to be conjunct Uranus. So our emotions and our intuition are going to be conjunct unexpected changes. And my day in these past 24 hours has not gone anywhere near what I expected this day to look like. And I've just been rolling with it. Yeah, I sat up in my bedroom for a while and had a little pout and a cry, but that just purged some emotions and some hormones and shifted things and got me back on track for what needed to happen today. And I just want to invite everybody to rest and be careful with your feelings and be aware of those who are around you, and really allow yourself to lean in to what is going on. So we've got our intuition conjunct Uranus, who is still retrograde. And Uranus doesn't feel comfortable in Taurus. Uranus and Taurus is major earth events, hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis. How can I shake up the world? How can I show you where you're doing things? And when I say you, I mean the collective of humanity, where you're doing things that don't actually serve the highest, that you're doing things that are harmful, and we need to make some changes to those things. So he's in there. The north node's at 13 degrees, that head of the dragon I talked about, where we want to go, the new world that we could potentially be birthing. And the bottom line is a new world is going to happen, and we can actively participate in it, birthing pains and all, or we can hide from it and pretend like that's going to stop it. And I promise it's not going to stop it. And our friend Kali, she's at 21 degrees. So with this eclipse happening at 16, she's in a 5-degree orb. And that 5-degree orb feels really, really important. Kali is the destroyer of the ego. Where are the egos that are going to be destroyed in the process of this election? Really excited. And really the process of this eclipse, because this is going to land for us all differently on personal levels than it does on a collective level. And of course, the collective mirrors the personal, the macro mirrors the personal, and we're in for major changes, and change is a part of life. So if you can soften into it, breathe, drink a lot of water, as I like to say, and rest and relax, that can really start to shift things around this. For those of you that are interested in working with me in the eclipse, there's a couple ways to do that right now. I have an event going on the social media site Revel, which is for women 40 plus. And that's happening on the 9th. And the last event we did, I got to read everybody's charts a little bit, and we shamanic journeyed. For those of you that really want to dive in, plan on joining my women's circle. Enrollment is still open. We are working the North Node. You get a personalized astrology reading. You get to join us in circle from anywhere in the world, because we do it via Zoom on the last Friday of the month. Anyways, back to what we're doing. Now with Kali there, she's going to be cutting away, bringing in radical truth, and cutting away ego, the ego pieces that get in the way of us having revolution. And we're going to shoot across now over to Scorpio, where we've got the sun at 16 degrees. We've got Mercury at 15 degrees. So Mercury at 15 degrees is what's called combust the sun, which puts him in this turbulent energy where technology and transportation and communication seems messy and challenging. And he's already in that energy. He has been combust. He is moving into Cazimi, the sun. So there's going to be this pinpoint of clarity. But right now, moving into this eclipse, he's 15 degrees away, and it's turbulent and it's crazy. When I think about combust energetically, combust is this space that is around what you could call the eye, around the eye of the storm. It's the sun is the center, the sun is the eye of the storm, and combust is the crazy wild weather around it. So our friend Mercury, who's in charge of, again, technology, transportation, and communication, is in this messy, turbulent space. Mercury is also the patron of thieves, and he is the trickster. So you could look at Loki in Norse mythology. Mercury was very well known for his tricks. This can also be linked into science, technology, and medicine, because remember that Mercury carried the caduceus symbol, which is the sign of modern Western medicine. On the other side of the sun, we have Venus at 20 degrees. So she is in there asking that we release the things that get in the way of really being embodied on this planet. Seeking, life is complicated. This is a complex world. Earth school is hard. One of my shamanic teachers always says that Earth school is the hardest school to come to, because we're meant to be here to learn the lessons. And if we're just moving from a place of how do I avoid anything that is uncomfortable, we're skating out, we're missing our lessons. So those are our friends in Scorpio and Taurus. Now square all of this. Here comes the kind of big piece of the conflict. 2021 had this ongoing Saturn-Uranus square. And we're back in that square. Saturn right now is at 18 degrees Aquarius. This eclipse is taking place at 16 degrees. So he's in a 2-degree orb to the square, an exact square. And Saturn is tradition. Saturn is rules. Saturn is restriction. Nico, can you let the dog out, please? Saturn is the things that keep us small and scared. So anything that has you, she's upstairs, anything that has you functioning from a place of fear, really plug into your Saturn. How is that affecting you? Where are you afraid of the outcome? Where are you afraid of the things that you can't control? Where are you afraid? And are you making decisions from that place of fear? Because that place of fear is what the battle actually is. The battle between fear and love. So leaning into the love, which is one of the reasons I want to bring in these sextile trines. And we're going to look at it as a grand earth trine, but these two asteroids are also sextile to the south node. So there is a creative push. A sextile is the energy of Venus. A trine is the energy of Jupiter. These are our two benefics working together with this nodal axis. And we're looking at Ceres in Virgo and Medusa in Capricorn. And they create a grand trine with the moon and Uranus over conjunct the north node in Taurus. So it's a grand earth trine. Ceres is the mother archetype. She also, Demeter would be another name she is known by. She is who makes things grow. And yes, right now she is in mourning because her daughter Persephone has gone back to the underworld to be with her husband and lover, Mr. Pluto. Pluto, we just can't get away from him, so stop trying. And we're watching the earth go to sleep. But even with the earth asleep, there's still so much life. And the important part of her story was her learning to laugh and reclaim her joy. And then we have Medusa, who became so bitter that her blood was toxic in the pursuit of, well, she was denied basic human contact. She couldn't make eye contact with anybody. And she is this beautiful sexual energy. And I imagine harnessing that beautiful sexual energy. And when I say sexual, I mean creativity, not just genitals. This isn't about genitals when I say sexual. I mean our creative energy in our second chakra. She's over in Capricorn, the builder and the CEO. How do I come up with ideas to make this work in the highest good of all? Because of course, what is going to work is that we protect the planet, that we protect the life on the planet, not that we move from a place of fear. And the life on the planet and the planet are constantly changing, because that is what life is about. Is the constant change. So yes, we're hearing all about how scary everything feels, how everything is just too big and too huge and oh my goodness. And we have this beautiful grand earth trine that is supporting us into moving into something new. So drink a lot of water, be tender with yourself, eat nourishing foods, reach out for support. Leave me your questions, your comments, your dedications, your requests down below. And happy eclipse. Just remember that Frodo made it to Mordor, and the Rebel Alliance took down the evil empire. And this is a middle set of eclipses within this axis. And we get the final pieces of the story in April and May of next year. And this is going to take time to unfold. We're not going to have answers tomorrow when things officially birth. And this is going to be an eclipse that is visible in North America. So it's scheduled to be cloudy here, but I'm still going to get up and peek outside because I just love it. The moon is going to turn red, making it look like it is coated in blood. That is why they call it a blood moon. And yeah, leave your questions, your comments, your dedications, your requests below. I love hearing from you and interacting with you. Thanks so much. Making it look like it is coated in blood. That is why they call it a blood moon. And yeah, leave your questions, your comments, your dedications, your requests below. I love hearing from you and interacting with you. Thanks so much.